Mark, welcome to the Peace One Day broadcast.
Thank you for having me, Jeremy.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
It's an honor.
Mark, the first question I want to ask you is, why is Peace Day, the 21st of September, a day of ceasefire and non-violence, so important to you?
That's an important question, Jeremy, and it is so important to me and my family. It always has been, just by the way I was raised. But that story for me really goes back to December 14th of 2012. My wife Jackie and I were raising our three beautiful children, James, Natalie, and Daniel, at our home in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. And Jackie was a school teacher. I was a professional musician. And we really appreciated the wonderful life that we had, the opportunities that we had to raise our children where we were raising them. And as a musician, I was a stay-at-home dad, and I got to spend lots of time with my three children. And the youngest of them, our little Daniel, being the last one to go off to school, I got to spend a lot of time with him. We got to really bond. I had a wonderful relationship with all three of my children. For our family, that all changed on the morning of Friday, December 14th, 2012, when a gunman shot his way into our Sandy Hook Elementary School and shot and killed 26 people, 6 educators, 20 first grade children, and one of those children was our 7-year-old son, Daniel, who embodied peace in his own right, in his own way, in such a beautiful way. We used to call him the caretaker of all living things, literally, because he looked out for his classmates, his family, and all the way down to the little worms on the sidewalk. He was a beacon of compassion for all of us to learn from. And his lifetime of bringing peace to the world was taken away from him by someone who made a choice to do that. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't an illness. This was somebody's choice. And that is where my mission begins in the work that we do at Sandy Hook Promise, is to try to understand why people are on their way to making that choice and getting them help before they make that choice. And that's how we are working with Sandy Hook Promise to bring peace and to prevent other families from losing a loved one to preventable gun violence, which is currently the number one cause of death for young people 19 and under in the United States. And it doesn't have to be. And so that's why this is so important to me. Peace One Day. We want to bring more peace to more people every day.
Well, thanks for sharing, Mark, and all of our condolences to you and your family.
Thank you.
And I want to ask, what needs to change? How is it going to be different?
So in the United States, where we live, as I said, we are suffering an out-of-control shooting epidemic. That needs to change. And there are a lot of ways to get there. There are cultural solutions. There are programmatic solutions. There are policy solutions. And this complex problem needs a comprehensive response. And through all of those methods and more. But what we focus on at Sandy Hook Promise is prevention by understanding those warning signs. We train students and teachers and parents how to look for and understand the warning signs that we have learned through research are almost always present before somebody carries out a mass shooting or somebody takes their life by suicide. There are almost always warning signs. So we have programs that we bring for free to schools and communities across our country to train those folks how to recognize those warning signs. And we give them the tools, access to an anonymous reporting system, a crisis center that's staffed with trained professionals who can then take that tip where somebody sees somebody talking about committing an act of violence and then connecting them to the resources and the help that they need so that they can get better and we can prevent and avert that act of violence. Students trained in our programs at Sandy Hook Promise have now averted possibly now 19, but definitely at least 18 planned school shootings that were ready to go. And students following our Know the Signs training models have prevented that from happening and connected to somebody to help. Policy solutions, we have a part of our organization works on writing legislation for our states and for our federal government that they've been able to pass with bipartisan support. that help communities have access to legal resources and policy resources to prevent gun violence in our country. And we engage students through our Safe Promise Clubs in a meaningful way, and they get it. And it's not a partisan issue. We really look at this holistically. Everybody, whether you have kids or not, everybody wants our kids to be safe. Everybody wants our communities to be safe, and we have solutions to do that. And that's what we work on at Sandy Hook Promises, is bringing these nonpartisan solutions to save lives, prevent violence, because our kids deserve it.
Yeah, they do. So, what about hope? I would imagine, the loss of your son ignites a fire in you that is incredibly strong. But what is it that kind of keeps you going? To kind of never give up, to see a change and make a difference.
I'll be honest with you, Jeremy. I struggle with that all the time. It's very difficult work by nature of the work, and because it's so intimately connected to the greatest loss I've ever experienced in my life, worse than my own death, is the murder of my child. It's something that nobody should have to experience, and that's what keeps me going, is that we have a solution that works. We are preventing other families from having to live this pain, and I have the privilege of honoring my Daniel, who we call the caretaker of all living things, with this work. And so it's deeply personal, and in that becomes one of the reasons why it's so challenging. And then there's so much hope, because I know we have a solution that works. In our country, where this gun violence issue is so pervasive, that we have a solution that works, that resonates with everyone, that doesn't cost anything. It's reason for hope, because in addition to stopping all of these bad things, the suicides and the mass shootings and other homicides, we're also creating a culture of upstanders, students who understand the importance of know the signs, the importance of say something if you witness somebody who's on their way to hurting themselves or others. We're building a culture of upstanders in the students that we train across the country, who understand that they have to be there for one another, who understand that if they see warning signs, they have to take it seriously and act immediately. And then we give them the resources and the tools with which to do that. And to see how it resonates with the students. They do take it seriously, and they appreciate the model, and we're growing it across the country. I wish we could be all places to all people all the time, and we're getting there. But we're a nonprofit, and we rely on the generosity of our donors to help keep us moving and growing. So it's a lot, right? It's rooted in this terrible tragedy. I feel I owe it to my Daniel to try to do what he would have done in his life. It was take care of other folks and prevent other people from having to live this tragedy. And then, to honor the folks who support the mission and to make sure we do it right and the best we can.
Yeah. Well, let's hope today we've raised some awareness of the incredible work that you're doing. But before I get to that final question, I want to ask you, more wars raging this year than ever since the Second World War, a 65% increase in violence since 2001, 2 billion people living in countries really affected by violence. With shootings recently that we all know about, the scenario in Gaza and elsewhere. Mm-hmm. When you see all of this happening, you feel all of this happening, what is it that we need to do? What can ordinary people do when we feel disempowered and frightened by everything that we're seeing?
Yeah, I totally hear you. It's almost a challenge to consume the news anymore. And then it feels irresponsible not to, because we owe it to each other collectively as a species to do better. And I sometimes do think that, are we actually fundamentally flawed as a species because it's just a mess? And we can't do that. We can't give up hope. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to each other, to the collective of humanity, to embrace this. And what I've learned in my work at Sandy Hook Promise, by raising awareness and teaching people, you don't have to turn everything upside down in your life and devote 100% of your mental and emotional capital to doing something and to being effective and adding value. Anything you do is worth it. So we owe it to each other to have these conversations, to be thinking presently about being peaceful. Make peace with your family. If you're having a rift with your family, start locally. There's so much that we can do. There are so many great organizations out there globally doing this good work. Spend a little time researching. Find one that resonates with your own values and donate to them or volunteer your services. It's cliche, but peace starts with me, right? Give peace a chance. All of these things sound ambiguous, but if you really think about it, there are things we can do, and anything you do is worth it.
Yeah. In fact, we're going to produce Mental Health Day on the 10th of October. If we want world peace, then we better start with inner peace, which is the point you've made so importantly. Finally, okay, so we've heard you today. What is the one thing that we can do to support you? What's the most important thing that you need right now?
Jeremy, thank you. We have a model that works, and it takes a lot to do the work that we do. We have an incredible team of folks that work for Sandy Hook Promise to bring their talent and their passion and their experience to do this work. And this organization is amazing. Like I said, we are literally saving lives and improving the life of folks across the country. But it takes a lot of resources. It takes dollars. It takes time. It takes folks just letting people know who Sandy Hook Promise is and what we do and the value that we bring to our culture and the lives that we save through our programs and our policies. So any help we can get.
Okay. And we go to the website, sandyhookpromise.com.
sandyhookpromise.org. Come see our organization, see if there's something there for you. We need all the help we can get.
Okay, well, let's hope you get it. And thank you for sharing. You're a real inspiration.
Thank you.
And I'm really grateful. So good luck, yeah?
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeremy.